Right. Where are we next? I think we're going into February now. So February started with two shows in the first 2 days, with quite a bang in more ways than one. And at that point, when we started those shows, we had become aware of the sovereignty issue and the letter. And there was a lot that were interested in it, and there's a lot in the rest of the alt media, apart from the usual notable exceptions being Randy and OYM, completely ignored it, and still do. But the first news item, which was also an Intel item in February, was the train incident. I imagine most people have forgotten. I partially had also. But there was a train with 200 Republican politicians on that was involved in an alleged accident, except it was a false flag event. And at the same time, a helicopter was taken down, or crashed, but that was taken down in response to that attack. And there was also a military plane that went down in Nellis Air Force Base in a so-called drill. That was also related to that attack. Now, early in February, because Mr. Trump had done a State of Union address, which was fairly bumbling, I might add, it didn't contain what it was supposed to have contained, and I did a fairly scathing piece on Mr. Trump because of it. You know, this is the week after the sovereignty. Now, whilst we didn't expect the sovereignty to be declared in it, there were certain things in that State of the Union that I felt I had to address, and I called Mr. Trump out. And for those who said that I'm all about Mr. Trump, that piece made it quite clear. If Mr. Trump does the right thing, I will support it. If he doesn't, then I will call it out. It's that simple. And the State of the Union address was a massive disappointment to myself and Kim and the team. But as it transpired later, there was a little bit of coercion going on. Of course, early February is the Super Bowl, and I gave out a word of warning for the attendees of the Super Bowl, except it's not really called Super Bowl, it's Superb Owl, a looshing event. All hail and worship Moloch and give it masses of loose energy. That's what it's all about. And that is what it is, right in your face. Superb owl. Now, the next piece that rocked many around the world, certainly in the higher circles, but significantly ignored by our corrupted alternative media, when I read out this letter, which is the Declaration of American Sovereignty. This day, Saturday, the 27th of January 2018, to the United States of America for the attention of President Donald J. Trump. We, Manor World Holding Trust, declare the following. Manor World Holding Trust recognises the expiration of treaty agreements between various aliases the Trust has had in the past, such as Unknown Country, the Crown, etc. Further, the Trust declares, as of the expiration of said treaty or treaties, the United States of America to be a sovereignty unto itself, with no infringement on its sovereign rights by any other nation, to include but not limited to Manor World Holding Trust, all of its former aliases, the Trust's former trustees, custodians, corporations and comptrollers. Full sovereign rights include, but not limited to, the right to sovereign territory, mineral rights, to hold and operate embassies, to hold and operate central banks, to hold and operate military and intelligence forces without any other sovereign monarch influences. Further, the Trust recognises the United States of America as an equal sovereign entity, shall it desire to enter into any further treaty to include the return of any of its property or properties currently held by separate treaty. Both parties recognise each other to be a sovereign entity unto themselves, with no obligation except to its citizens. Manor World Holding Trust formally relinquishes all rights, property deeds and custodianship to the property within the United States known as the District of Columbia, also known as Washington, D.C., and any and all governing bodies contained therein, formally governed by the prior liaisons, trustees and custodians of the Manor World Holding Trust since 1864. Manor World Holding Trust formally acknowledges its agreements with the corporation formed in 1912, known as the Federal Reserve, signed as an infinite agreement under international corporate law. This term is 99 years. Therefore, the expiration of the funding agreement between the Manor World Holding Trust, be it by any other former name, expired on June the 15th, 2011. Further, its service agreement with the United States of America expired on June the 15th, 2012. Manor World Holding Trust confirms the corporation known as the Federal Reserve is a corporation owned wholly by the Manor World Holding Trust. Manor World Holding Trust, as of this day, shall transfer all ownership rights fully to the United States of America, to include its right to print paper currency, its own, any and all future income and past income earned as of the 15th of June 2012, any and all debts owed to it by the United States, any and all real property owned by the corporation. Manor World Holding Trust agrees to work together with you and your appointed representation to return any other property or properties the Trust may hold on behalf of the United States, to include any dividends now due against any assets it may have pledged in the past. Please be advised, Manor World Holding Trust's consolidation assets and restructuring began on the 5th of September 2012 and was completed on the 1st of February 2016. As of the 28th of September 2012, I, Kim Goguin, am the sole trustee, custodian, principal, decision-making party and owner. This can be verified through any intelligence report referencing the above listed country code. Any former trustee from any nation, to include but not limited to China, the UK, USA, have held no power over the Trust since 2012, when they were relieved of duties due to multiple breaches of contract. Any other nation, society, order or organisation does not influence my sole decision-making capacities in any way, nor do I have any superiors. I am not a member of any aforementioned organisations. I act completely of my own recognisance, and this document is valid as a treaty between both sovereigns and is legally binding under international law from this day forward. Signed and acknowledged on the 27th day of January 2018 by the Manor World Holding Trust and Kim. That blew people's heads away. Big time. Big time. And it hasn't been forgotten. But that readout told you everything about what we haven't got in this country, what we thought we had, but actually we don't. It told you the Federal Reserve is owned by the Trust. It told you the Crown also is owned by the Trust. It also told you that the whole of Washington DC, known as the District of Columbia, is also owned by the Trust. Right in that document itself. Well, I followed up by explaining how the original independence was a scam, 1776 and all that. Scam. Another one of the Crown games. And also how we have had no American government or constitution, the real one, since 1861. I then explained that the US military, as it's known, is not working for American people or the American government or America the country, and is being ran for and by the globalists. It also mentioned how income tax is not a tax at all, but it is a tribute to the Crown. How our whole financial system was taken over by the Federal Reserve, which is not an American bank, but a Crown subsidiary, which was owned by the Trust, as well as the IRS. I also went on to explain how our whole legal system is also based on the Crown Bar. Bar means British Accreditation Registry, and how both the American anthem and also its flag are also British designed. It was quite a lot for Americans to take in. Like I keep saying, our whole history here is a complete and utter lie from day one. February brought out the first public rumblings of the Manor World Holding Trust and the group known as Kingdom of Manor, which had split 4 months previously due to King Julius, formerly known as Jesper, even though there's two of them, was found to be working with and for directly the Rothschilds. And we had a raft of emails and questions backwards and forth at the time of does Kim have this website, and this is Kim's blog, and Kim's doing cryptos, and we had to explain no, Kim doesn't have any blogs, websites, and is not involved in anything on the internet apart from passing details to Tank, who operated in the RV world, and also THI, and that's it. And in the end, I got fed up with it and decided that people didn't know one manner from the next, and we played this song. That was played following everyone thinking everything was manner, and people didn't know one manner from the next, so we decided to play that tune. Oh dear, that was painful at the time. Still in February, Mr. Trump then announced something in February, that there would be a military parade which is scheduled for 11/11/18. It's not a coincidence. And it all made us go, coming so soon after the sovereignty letter. Now, as things transpired throughout the year, that military parade got cancelled, but it's not permanently cancelled, and will follow at a later date. The reasons why may become clear next year. February the 14th, we did our first show of the year with Kim, where she explained in her own detailed, special way all things about the sovereignty letter and its implications, and also gave us a background into the live banking codes, the quantum system, what is global martial law, and many other subjects in great detail. And then I had to do a show again the following day. It was quite a month for shows, and I did a full expose on who and what Anna von Reitz is and works for. Now, this was necessary following several attacks, both privately and publicly, by Anna and her Langley II paymasters, plus her connections with the Vatican and her Habsburg bloodline connections, all playing the game. Now, sadly, she chose to continue that feud through much of this year, as her paymasters got more and more desperate, as we all know. Now, there was a delay. We were hoping this was the main reason the military parade eventually got cancelled, as the delay in moving forward due to the military hardware lease deal to Asian Chinese elders, aka dragon groups. But we had spoken, the trust had spoken, and Kim, with the Chinese President or Prime Minister Xi, and he was given full backing, support and assistance to a solution to that military hardware leasing deal. For those that don't know, the American military, all of the hardware, weapons and everything was sold to a Dragon Asian consortium, not the Chinese government. And all of it is being leased back to keep them going. Work's still ongoing on that. And we had discussions with Chinese royals in the past month over that same deal. And if they were willing to work with us, we gave them a deadline that they had to return all the American military hardware and scrap that contract by within 48 hours, or we're not working with them. They never, and so we don't. But it's not only that the Rothschilds think that and the Dragon groups think they own the US military. The Jesuits stepped forward this month and were trying to enact a law from 1488 where they think they totally own the American military. And they also think that they own the Chinese military as well. Of course, America was only refounded again by the Vatican paid agent Columbus, as we all know. Fake story, fake news. So how they can lay a claim from that date, and maybe this is why the Vatican attorney Anna von Reitz fled the country this week, to lay hold on blocking the American sovereignty plans. And there was a message sent to the Jesuits via the show that they need to grasp they are no longer the powerhouse of anything, and we will remind them that they are a sub-sovereign to the trust, not the other way round. And going forward, it may be the case that the Holy See, Roman Catholic Church or the Vatican will not be declared a sovereign at all, and I hope they like that. They did go quiet for the rest of the year, and the trust has the power to declare sovereignty, as proven with the original Kingdom of Manor before it was found out that Jesper was working for the Rothschilds, and Kim also declared America sovereign. But by the same token, she also has the ability, as the controller as such of the trust, to deny that same sovereignty as well. As one of the conditions of a sovereign is a sovereign nation or entity cannot attack another sovereign. The Kingdom of Manor decided to attack Kim. That's why they lost it. An awful lot more has been spent since. Another week goes by that was riddled with staggering hypocrisy and public waste, as the report came out. $100 million of public money had been spent to come to the conclusion that Russian trolls interfered or decided the outcome of the last USA Inc. election. Sadly, that bullshittery continue on right throughout the year, and it's still ongoing. I have no idea how much has been spent on it now, but either way, what a waste of money. If you want to talk about Russian collusion, let's talk about Anne and Obama and Mnuchin and others who sold America's uranium to, who was it again? Oh yeah, Russia. Oh well. Late February brought us a very detailed piece about the Veil, or the Matrix as it's called, and mental planes and soul evolution, and also what was fairly new then, the earth rods for stabilizing the planet. The piece spoke about frequencies, the new earth, and the changes of vibrational frequency. And I began to explain what would happen to the people of the higher frequency, and then came to the people who were left, and said this piece: well, you're all going to die. Only joking. But a few hearts missed a beat there. You know me and my humour, I have to say something. No, you're not going to die. Well, you will eventually. We all die eventually. But who can forget that piece? And you should all check that piece out. It was fairly detailed. I haven't got time to cover the whole lot of it. But to end February, I did a song request of Stick the New World Order Up Your Ass for a special girl of one of our members, Beth Dalton. And we played the song for Peyton, and the video was posted of her reaction. It still gets me to this day watching it. To me, that was priceless. And we also give the same excitement to Road Less Travelled, his two lads, as they like the ass song, as they call it as well. And in a world of utter madness and greed and chaos, it shows how we can all provide one moment that changes one person's life on any given day. You know, that small touch can make so much difference. And I was glad that I was able to make Peyton and the Rhodes lads' day with a simple mention. To me, it was just a simple mention, but for them it brought great joy. Check out the video on the Facebook page. It was recently bumped up. Utter priceless. To Rhodes lads, and also Peyton, hi again. It's me, Thomas. It's your song again.